when something is not working, what can be done. Positive and negative controls are must to test your experimental conditions and your Western blot protocol. That if something doesn't work, it's good to have a positive control. But still, the Western blot protocol may require adjustment just for your target protein. One can increase protein load per well. What I recommend when we work with the antibody which we are using for the first time and there is no product information sheet to recognize which conditions should be applied, I recommend to overload the system. So use a lot of protein and also use a lot of primary antibody. As you see here, recommended is 1 to 500 overnight incubation. If there is a problem, the antibody should be affinity purified. But as I also mentioned earlier, affinity purification is necessary to concentrate specific antibody and will provide you the antibody which can be used not only in Western blot. So if you overload the system, you may get a lot of background, but the most important thing here is to see, do we have a target band? Is it detected? If it is, then we can modify the protocol, use more primary antibody, higher diluted primary antibody, less protein, but at least we see that we have a target band. What I mean by negative controls are, of course, samples from mutants, deletion, knockdown, knockout mutants, to see that the target band is gone. But of course, it's not always possible because for some vital proteins, we cannot obtain these types of mutants. As I mentioned before, sensitive detection, so chemi or fluorescence. I don't recommend chromogenic detection if you have issues. I would go to more sensitive detection methods. Also, I would overexpose a membrane to at least see, do I get any signal in the target area? No, and the must, which is here listed as a last resource, is checking the sequence. But of course, I assume that you have already done it, because predicting if the antibody you're going to use is going to bind to your protein is absolute must before you start any experiments. And I have seen so many times that people rush to the lab and use the antibodies and there is no detection, but they actually haven't checked the sequence. That's why my suggestion here. And of course, hopefully, after your Western blot is optimized, it will look much, much better.